Are you ready for a new pattern? We have our Good Knit Kisses Loom Knit bucket hat today, and this features a woven top of the hat, and you can do this on any round loom with an even number of pegs, and then go into your main stitch pattern and brim. So I'm going to walk you through that today, and I want to show you this hat real quick. When I pull this off, it makes a bucket, and you know, other bucket hats will have one of those little brims that sticks outward on it, but a real bucket actually doesn't have that. So I didn't want that feature on here, but I did this one to show you how you can turn it upside down and make it your own little bucket or little storage part. You could put a ball of yarn in here, a plant with maybe a liner in there, candy, tissue box, whatever you want to use it for. I think this would be really fun. You could even use it as a little basket at Easter time, so that would be fun. So I really wanted to share with you this pattern today and show you how to go through the different elements. I do have videos on, but we're going to talk about how to connect the top to the main part of the pattern, and then just kind of go through the pattern real quickly today on this video. So welcome, and let's get started on our Loom Knit bucket hat. Welcome to Good Knit Kisses. We're all about helping you stitch your love and love your stitches. For written instructions, please click down in the video description below and get the link to our blog, and you can see that pattern for free, or you can download from our website at a lower price the ad-free version, or you can go onto Ravelry and Etsy stores as well if you usually like to go there, and they're available there as well. So they're more at a premium price, but we keep the cost low on our website if you want that, and all the information for materials are there as well. Let's go over that. So I happen to be using a yarn color that's discontinued at this moment, but you can actually still get this yarn, and I think the color name is different. They do have another blue like this, but this is from Lion brand, and it is a super bulky 6-weight yarn. It's Wool Ease Thick and Quick. This color was sky blue, and I just used one ball. In fact, I had enough of it where I had this left over, but I'm going to show you on the loom our first part why I have another one of these, and you saw it earlier in the video of this woven part. So I had the fabric for that woven part plus this left over. So if you want a larger size, there should be plenty in one ball to make a larger size, or a couple of smaller sizes as well. This pattern is very flexible, so you can use multiple size looms, and it will guide you how to set it up. And it's pretty great because it's pretty generic as long as you have an even peg loom. So I'm going to move this aside and show you the loom I'm using. Let's talk about looms. So this loom that I'm using is the 48 peg 5/8 large gauge loom. I'm going to flip it over so you can see that. 48 pegs and 5/8. It's called a large gauge loom. You could even use a 24 peg loom, those Nifty Knitter blue ones with 24 pegs for a little baby hat if you wanted to. So as long as you have an even number of pegs, you can do it. Cindywood also makes a 54 and a 60 inch or 60 peg loom as well. Now this loom is based upon the classic Nifty Knitter 48 peg purple loom. So sometimes you hear them referred to as the purple loom. They make that. Also, KB Looms has their own version of this 48 peg large gauge loom, and it's in a package of 3, and it is called Premium Chunky Looms, I believe. All of the other alternate looms you can find in our book. I have the Loom Knitting Guide. This is the 2021 edition. This is our most recent edition we have, and it has all the looms that have been made. I might have skipped a couple, but we have a ton of looms in here. So up until 2021 or the end of 2021, and we even have a neat reference chart here in the back for if you need to change out what yarns and gauges and things are. So if you haven't seen this book before, you can get that, and it is download on demand, or you can get it digital from us. So I just thought I'd let you know we have that if you're trying to cross-reference different looms. Just make sure you have an even peg loom. So first you're going to start with casting on, and you're going to weave. You're going to weave with 3 strands of your super bulky 6-weight yarn until you get all the loops on the pegs. Now there's a video, the link is down below. There's right-handed and there's left-handed, so we will do that together. So if you want to watch this whole video here and see how to piece it together and come back here to reference this spot, you can do that. You'll note in the video I had pulled off a few of these loops showing you how it would come off of the loom. Let's go around over here, and in the back I had pulled these off, but this is one set of pegs here or a set of pegs here that has one loop around it. There's 3 strands, but it's technically one loop around these 2 pegs. And I had pulled one off saying you could pull this whole thing off and you would be fine. But for a hat, you need all of them on here, okay? So to begin the section with the main part of the hat, you're simply going to take this yarn, these tails, and move them to the inside, okay? They're just gonna stay here. If they kind of get in your way, I mean, you could sort of tuck some of these in like that just for a moment to kind of keep them from flying around. And then this one needs to come in too. So you pull it through here. If you feel like this is a little bit too bulky, okay, so it's already gone through here, you could pull them up through this stitch like that and guide them to the inside. It won't mess up any stitches or anything. And so you just got it easily in the middle here, and even sort of just tuck that in. And when you're going in the round, these little tails won't fly. These 6 tails here are going to be woven in later along with your next tail. So let's go on to the next section. If you have to pause and come back, I understand. So we're just going to take our yarn and we're going to go on with 1 strand at a time. So normally I'd have you take a slip knot and place it on your first or your anchor peg or your first peg, but I'm not going to do that this time. If you want to place that on the anchor, you can, but sometimes people don't have an anchor peg. And you can just start on this peg 1 here, and we're going to E-wrap the first round. So you're simply going to E-wrap around. So I go between the first peg and the second peg. I'm going to go in this direction because I'm right-handed. If you want to go in the opposite direction because you're left-handed, you can do that. So this is my peg 1 here. If you are left-handed, you might start here and go around. So you're just going to go between your first and second peg, and then go to the front of that first peg, around to the back, and then go to the next one. So you're just simply E-wrapping around. So if I go here, I can just E-wrap my normal, okay? And the reason why I'm doing that is because when I get to the stitches where I want purls, I like to purl in this direction. So do it in whatever direction you like. There are no rules here. You don't have to go in a certain direction. I'm just saying I'm going from right to left, or you can go from, I'm going right to left, or you can go from left to right, depending on what you want. So you're just going to start by E-wrapping for your foundation and knitting over. So when you get over to this side, you are going to E-wrap this peg and E-wrap this peg. And when they are knit over, they will become 2 new pegs. If you used a regular knit stitch over here, then this would become this big loop that would be seen. When we have our hat done, there are no loops that hang out and are on the wrong side. They're all finished really well. It looks good. Everything's in there smoothly and you can't tell. It also is not really seen that these are E-wrap stitches. There's no real twisted knit stitch that you see. They're just kind of buried in there. So that's all you're doing for the foundation. Super simple. E-wrap around, knit off, and then you're going to start your main stitch pattern. Okay, so you have made your weaving, you've done the foundation round, and now you need to start working on the Andalusian stitch. This is the hat body. So we've connected these pieces. Now we're going to start this stitch pattern. This stitch pattern starts with knitting in the round 1 time, and then we do like a seed stitch, sort of just on 1 row. We're knitting 1 and purling 1 and going all the way around. So it becomes this stitch here. Rather, you're actually forming these stitches in this direction. So it makes this round here, and then you're going to do 3 rounds of knit followed by the same again. So you're actually going to do this stitch pattern a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And it works about 3.5 inches for this piece here. But if you notice, there's about 1.5 inches that you're seeing of the top part kind of rounding here. And then you're going to work your 1-inch brim, okay? So if you want this part longer, and you say, oh, well, I usually have 8.5 inches for the size of my head, you can do that. But I put this one on. I usually wear an 8.5 on my head. And when I put this on, it pushes this out a little bit. and I can comfortably wear this. But if you want a longer hat, you can totally do that. You might want 1 or 2 more rounds of this one and then start your seed stitch. Okay, so once you're done with that, you can pause, come back, and then now we're going to start our brim. So our brim is seed stitch, and you are going to do 5 rounds of seed stitch. What that is a round with knit, purl, repeated all the way around. And then you're going to change it up, and you're going to go to purl, knit, all the way around, and then do that again. So you're going to switch it up every other round and do 5 rounds total. And then when you want to bind off, you're just going to do a simple basic bind off, except you're going to bind off in patterns. So that next round would begin with a purl. So you're going to purl that stitch, then you're going to knit, then you're going to purl every time you're doing your bind off. So if you want to look, we have some videos of binding off in pattern, and you're simply just going to run it as you normally would. And then you're going to weave in your tails. So you'll weave in your last tail here, and then you'll have 7 tails on the inside. And now I'm going to show you what this looks like on the inside. So when I wove in my tails, I used a whip stitch, and you can see, you can compare what yours looks like on the inside to mine now after the fact. And I have just taken these little strands. Say I had 3 coming out here. I just took 1 strand and went this way. And I did 1 strand that went this way. And then I took another one and just went on top of here. And then I went over to the next part and I did the same. I did maybe 1 on this side because I had 2 strands coming this way. And then I did the other 2 strands over here and so on. So I had like 7 tails at the top here, and it just makes a nice, it just makes a nice seam on the inside. And then when you flip it over, it has that sort of bulbous effect to it, and it pops out, and it's just a fun, funky top. I love it. So you have your woven top, your knit sides and brim, and just a fun, unique hat or bucket. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed this. I know it's not a regular tutorial today, but feel free to leave me a comment down below. Tell me, what did you think of this today? What do you think of the pattern? Are you going to use it? Are you going to use it as a hat? Are you going to use it as something else? I'd love to hear back from you. Have a great day, and happy knitting, crochet, and weaving. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us today, where we help you stitch your love and love your stitches. See you again soon.